Welcome to Astral Ascent. I think I wrote down round 8 for some reason, which is wrong. Hold on, let me fix that. Uh, hmm. Please hold. That's gonna bug me just enough for me to want to go through the process of fixing it. This is round 5, I believe, and I'm also going to do a little bit of a check on the scores here. Yep, round 5, Meshmallow versus Aangineer. And if we look at the standings, we'll see that Mush is already in, and Aangineer might have to win this one if he wants to get in. But Mush is already in with a record of 3-1, so now he's just fighting for top seed, clout, and knocking Aangineer out of this tournament. Yeah, I never get these streams right on time. There's always like a little bit of a delay and like a 10-minute setup for me before I actually get into the game. But fortunately for me, so far there's been a lot of draw passing. But we're in the game now. Mush using the correct star and point system, so that's 0.13 stars, and Aangineer at confusingly 8 stars and 2 points. Aangineer complaining about Tribite. Understandably, it is an annoying card. One option he has to clear it is to kill it regularly, but you'll need to buy 2 creature zones if you don't want the Noth to die here. And then next turn you can kill it with Super Flooper. Some star stuff. From this point onwards, I'm going to try to keep track of that for Aangineer and these players. Okay, and now Tribite can get moved into the creature zone. So here it would have been made a lot more sense to buy a second creature zone. I think maybe Aangineer didn't realize that that's a play he can do. Maybe if he watches back the stream with the commentary, he can understand a lot of those plays. Because it's a misconception that. Okay, now he realizes. Yeah. Oh man, and so this is the difference between players who go 3-1 and players who go 2-2. It's stuff like this. And now Mish can respond with his own Noth. Noth killing Gaia's Noth to search for a 3-star. Will we see a second Tribite here? Oh, yes, we do. Holy. Now that's annoying. Okay, but Noth's getting free played. The second Tribite would have been such a power play, but here we're just going to see maybe a more conventional approach. Noth comes in for 2 points. You starting the chip cycle. And Aangineer here gets the draw. Field could come in handy at some point. Here, Super Flooper is strong. but also quite aggressive. Engineer can go squads for Thorn, grab Knopf, because Knopf has this ability once per game. After you add a Galaxy Gas creature to your hand, you can free play this killed creature. So Engineer can like play the Sapling Squads, use Gas to kill it to search his deck for a 1-star Gas creature, which would probably be a Thorn Gabork, and then free play Knopf and kill the thing. Kill the opposing Knopf. Knopf also works with the Magic Zermilion tree because the Zermilion tree reveals the top 5 cards of your deck and then you add one. So that adding from deck still, even though they are in play just for functionality, would also allow Knopf to get free played. Mish saying Bjaldrazem, I think joking in this instant. Oh, another play Aangineer here has is Temagrab. Tribite, of course, counts as his own card, even though it's not a functioning creature. So Engineer can drop a Temagrab here, kill Knopf, kill Tribite as a consequence, free up the zones, and put himself in a great position. So there's a lot of stuff you can do here, but it's important to realize that you have these lines, and just to see them, I get the sense that players who are a little newer at the game uh, don't always see all the possible available lines and kind of just see like the most obvious ones, like Super Flooper. But here, Engineer finds this line, and I think that's quite good. You get Temagrab out of the way, you clear the Tribite, and Mish has to find a good response to this. And thinking about the cards in Mish's deck, 190 is not the easiest number to hit around. If it was something like 160, then or 150, you could do it with Zomaddle, or not a Zomaddle, a Zamorzed. However, at 190, you don't want to like use an entire Serpent. So hard to say. And also, Temple Traps is a very active threat here. Trying to think what sort of response we would have here to this card that feels efficient. For Cell Sign would be pretty strong here. Palfiam's okay as well, because Temagrab is kind of a situational card, so you can try to bet that it won't have a use later in the game. Although probably it will, especially with Triabite. There's going to be some 2-creature board set up at some point that makes it worth playing. Crash is obviously like a little bit low value. You can just wait to beast. That also doesn't feel that good. I'm just trying to think through how Mush is going to respond to this guy. A Gla maybe? I think that this deck has plenty of removal against the Gaios deck, so you can spend some of your removal inefficiently here, upon further consideration. So yeah, there you go. We see the Glug here. I think Glug's quite strong. Glug kills Gook. When Gook is killed by a night jungle creature at the end of your turn, you may draw 2 cards. And then Gauss kills Glug, which allows Meshmallow to search his deck for a 1-star creature, now grabbing the Thorn Gabork. And now Mush has a lot of stars, not too many cards. Dropping the Thorn here and swinging for 1 isn't that bad. Dropping Tribite, swinging for 1 is also pretty strong and annoying. But both are okay, and we see the Thorn Gabork. For 1. Yep, totally fine. It might be optimal. Okay, and if you're Engineer here, what do you do? Super Flipper is a little bit wasteful, but you deny the draw this way. A Sapling Swaz for Thorn. I think you want to. Hard to say actually here. It's going to be up to Engineer to decide whether or not he wants to commit to a 2-creature board with the Noth, or just slow roll it. And he will just slow roll with the Noth. I think if you're gonna do this, you should just attack with the Thorigabork instead. But we do see the Noth come down, because you're kind of like not getting any value out of the 160 power. But I digress. Now, Mish probably wants to drop the Tribite, if I had to guess. We shall see. I think Tribite's a pretty good response here. Not sure what else Mish would want to do. Blur. Dropping a blur of the Pally Falls or whatever the card's called. And searching his deck for a Rowdy is good. Not Noth. Zamerzed. Zamerzed here is okay, but probably Tribite's a little stronger. Because Zamerzed, again, this 160 power is not being used to hit over a creature or swing for points. Okay, but we do see the FICO here from Aangineer. That's a great card to draw in this spot. Probably the best response. Yeah, okay, so we see the Thorgabork, which is also a pretty efficient way to clear that Zammer. But I think when you have an opportunity like this to use FICO, you take it. Otherwise, you risk drawing into your other FICO. Every turn that you hold FICO in hand without using it, you risk drawing it. And we're going to see Muge again. We're seeing these back and forth swings now with really small creatures. But Mushir, no, buying a second battle zone, indicating we're going to see a bigger attack. Oh, just making sure not to leak stars, actually. Okay, but still, this is just a position where both players don't feel like confident enough to set up a very powerful 2-creature board. Just want to poke back and forth for a little bit, trade resources, until maybe the game progresses to enough of a state where they feel comfortable applying more pressure. FICO here from Aangineer is going to be really strong. When FICO kills a creature, you get to search your deck for another creature and free play it. And so now Aangineer has 2 creatures with 260 health, which are going to be quite annoying for Mush to deal with at this point in the game. He can use some sort of Jakra Serpent combination, but that's very expensive. Crash wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. If he has second claw, he can try to get value out of that. Aangineer here does have the traps though, so any sort of aggression from Meshmallow, trying to clear these creatures with a big creature of his own, is going to be met with a very frustrating Temple Traps. Mush in the tank here a little unclear of what the best way to respond to this board is. And it's not easy. FICO Doris is one of these cards that is quite annoying. It doesn't have that much power, so you can stall against it quite easily. However, because it's so cheap to play, you kind of feel bad about trying to kill it in a very committal way. Like, Crash might be the best option here, but that would mean using Crash on what is basically 5 stars in one creature of cost for Aangineer. We see the Great Serpent here instead, though, so that could do it. However, that Temple Traps is going to be a cold shower for Mush if he just decides to swing, like he seems to be. Mush very good here not to leak any stars. And we're going to see swing. And here comes the traps. that is tough. Yeah, that's really good value out of those traps. Now Engineer here is going to be able to still have those two annoying creatures on board. Pay 4 stars. I'd like to see for the second battle zone and swing for 4. Yep, 4. Gonna put Engineer at 6, starting to race, now taking the point lead from Mush. And Mush is in the same spot he was last turn. He has to find a way to kill these two very annoying creatures. I think at this point, if you have a Beast of the Black Hole or a Galaxy Crash, you might just have to use it. Because every turn that you just pass or try to stall, you're going down on resources, and you don't know what kind of answer you're hoping for. In a way, it's an instructive moment, because even if you don't like your hand, you have to think to yourself, what card am I waiting for? Like, what card could I top deck so that I have an efficient way of clearing this board? And if you only have a 1 in 13 chance of drawing that card, probably you have to look for a more inefficient out. But maybe here Meshmallow was waiting for the Jakra and had a tower in hand. We're going to see Forces of Justice grabbing Rowdy of the Pally Falls back into his hand. This may allow Mush to set up a second Serpent. Serpent a little bit overkill, especially if you can't clear the full board. I think Engineer really has a strong opportunity here to take a dominating position. Yeah, just playing a Serpent here feels so bad. With an Orbov, that is not a card I expected to see here. But I don't mind it. I think this allows you to kind of protect point-wise a little bit against the sort of plays that Mush is anticipating. Okay, now Engineer has a couple of options on his turn. And two really stand out. The first is to use a Gla plus a Gook to kill the Serpent, and then maybe just swing for 1. Or you can also kill the Gla with Gaiath and then play down a Truant, the new card that Engineer dropped. Or you can play a Spore Gazer and a Super Flooper. I do like the Gla though. I think that's probably your best line here, because by using Gla, you draw cards, and the more cards you have in the hand, the more efficiently you're able to respond to every situation. So it's generally good to use Gla as early as possible. And now you could even just attack with the FICO. However, at this stage of the game, I think you are justified in playing a little bit of a board here to start to apply just the tiniest bit of pressure. A Thorn board here, even if it gets destroyed in some way, isn't gonna be the end of the world. So yeah, I like this a lot. Engineer this time, taking his time, playing it a little slow, and I think this marks the turn where Engineer needs to start being a little bit more aggressive. So up until this point, Engineer has been super efficient with his cards, playing super low commit boards. But now we're starting to see Engineer approach the stage of the game where his hand is kind of growing. He has a lot of stars, he has a lot of cards, and that means that he can start to burn pressure, to apply pressure and kind of burn his cards, convert those stars and cards into points without having to worry about running out of resources, because he has so many at this point. He has the tree for more options. He has the crash, he has the field, he has Flooper, which is a free committal. He has both Pelfams, which are going to allow him to break boards. You know, he has everything he could ask for. And if he just keeps trying to be super efficient all the time, he's never going to get enough points, and eventually Mishmal is going to be able to cycle that Jackra Undying Flames, which we just saw, repeatedly until he can set up the type of formidable boards that Aangineer is going to struggle to clear. Because at the end of the day, this combo of Tower of the Undying Flame and Jackra means that Meshmallow has infinite resources in a sense. He can just continuously play Jackra and shuffle in his opponent's resources. So at some point, you do have to start applying more pressure. And 2 more cards. Now is the turn, I think, to look for an avenue to do something. What can we play here? Okay, Tree I like. Always risk playing Tree because you could free play 5 non-gas creatures, and then Aangineer is gonna have to discard his entire hand, and it'll be over. But we see the Spore Gazer. Oh, and the Truant, so that's also gonna mean Aangineer gains 2 stars. Michigan joking about the Bailed by Zam thing. And also importantly, Beast of the Black Hole comes into play, which does let Meshmallow know that Beast is not in Aangineer's hand. This will make Mish more comfortable attacking. Okay, now Aangineer has to pay 4 for the I think Aangineer forgot to gain for turn. And we got to forget. Yep, okay, so that's a big thing as well. Just keeping track of stars and making sure to gain stuff like that is huge. Because the difference between 10 stars here and 14 can make all the difference. But basically, I kind of care about this because I want to see an aggressive play here from Aangineer. I think that would be cool to see. Okay, Super Sleeper on the Guster and Sapling Squads. I like this a lot. Really good play from Aangineer here. Yeah, this is really strong. Okay, we see a field here, which is unfortunate a little bit. Good field, I think, from Yush, preserving that powerful Jackra. A glass cannon, if you will, only 10 health, but 370 power, is a 4-point swinger, has a lot of potential stuff here. For Sail Sign from Yush, could be quite strong here. But even just swinging into the Super Flooper and doing whatever with the squads is enough at this point in the game. Triabite, finally bringing that card out. That's going to be annoying for Aangineer to deal with. But really, Aangineer is in the driver's seat. Although Meshmallow has a couple more stars, he is down to a 5-card hand versus Aangineer, what soon will be 9. 5 versus 9, that's a huge lead. And the board Misha set up in compensation for that is not so formidable. Aangineer thinking on field here. I like not fielding here because you get so many free stars. Yeah, now at 20 stars. Oh, and the AA allows you to put on more pressure. And now this world is Aangineer's oyster here. So many options. Lots of great plays. Oh, I just realized something. Aangineer here can crash and then use Gaios, and you might do it. Can use Gaios to kill the Tribite and then search his deck for a 3-star. Was this always available? Wait, I think people just didn't realize this was an option for Gaios players. Once per turn, you can kill 1 Gaios creature on your planet, then add 1 Gaios creature with the same amount of stars, but a different name from your galaxy to your hand. Let's see, Tribite here. After this creature is killed by your opponent, free play it to any zone on their planet as a resource card. it is also treated as his own Gaia's creature. And although it's not your Gaia's creature, it's still the opponent's. It's still Misha's Gaia's creature. Gaia's does not specify that it has to be yours. It just has to be on your planet. So that is an interaction I didn't realize up until now. Um, do I have an option to leak this in the Discord server, but I won't. In fact, I'm not gonna because it feels like bias. It feels bad for Mush. It feels like I'm picking favorites if I leak it in the server, because then Mush is gonna have a disadvantage for the rest of the game versus all of the gas mirrors. But hey, if you're watching the stream, that's something to keep in mind. That you can use Gaios to kill Tribite. That's a perfectly valid move that people haven't realized up until this point. Yeah, people just didn't realize this was a play you can do. And I got distracted. What happened behind that point? Okay, Aangineer played a crash here, killed both those cards. Tribite came into play. Truant swing for 4, maybe? Mole comes down. Now it's kind of tough because you can field, but if Misha has AA, you have to kill an AA as well. But I think that's probably fine. AA, field comes down here. And Misha does not have the response AA, so that's gonna be basically a wasted mole. When you can, it's good to mole in a low commit spot so that field doesn't get much value if they have to burn it. Or to use mole against like a weak creature that traps doesn't save. That way, even if they do have an activator to play against the mole, it's not that useful. However, maybe it's just the circumstances aligned so that Mish didn't have a better play. Again, Aangineer in a great spot. Temple Trap is going to be super annoying. I just killed the mole here. Yep, and then it's up to Mish to find an answer. And every turn, and Tribite only has 3 turns on play, so every time Mish ends his turn, a counter is going to go up on Tribite, and when that counter hits 3, Tribite is dead. So it's only going to be in play for a short period of time longer. Okay, we're going to see Truant here. Traps. Not the most powerful traps because the logic can still swing into Truant. And we'll search for a Undying Blue Flame. This gives Mush a little bit of hope in this position. Here, Aangineer. It's not clear what's strongest. Passing is a little bit. Yeah, it's a little awkward whatever you do. Truant's probably not the best value, but maybe it's fine. Because there's not much else you can do and you have a lot of stars, so I don't mind a Truant here. Yep. I think if you're on an extra zone, you'd like to go like for Cell Sign Palfion, bring the for Cell Sign back into hand. You have the stars to justify those sorts of plays. So that's what I'd like to see from Aangineer next turn. Because I'm guessing here Mush is going to play the Tower of the Blue Flame, or Undying Blue Flame, or whatever it's called. No, okay, we see something. I like this actually. Tribite comes back into the hand. Yeah, that's funny. Tribite comes back into the hand, resetting the counters on it, and then it can come back down. Can come back down. Okay, we're gonna see the shuffle of the tower still, which is super aggressive by Mush. Dare I say, a little too aggressive. But we're seeing this really big play come down. FICO Doors here, not that strong. Shuffling it in was kind of good for Mish because when you have two of them left in deck, the first one free plays the other. But when you have only one, when you have none left in deck and one is killed, it's just a 5-star that's a little bit too expensive. Pelphion Bounce Jakra is good. FICO here, I like this as well. Nice way to get value out of FICO by just swinging for points and again setting up a quite annoying board. Aangineer is at 13, so he is close to winning and he does have the TFP. At this point, if you're Aangineer, you want to start thinking about how you can close out this game. And one of the clearest solutions that comes in mind to me is if Aangineer can just stall for one turn to get up to 12 stars at the start of his turn, he can do a combination of Pelphium plus for Sail Sign plus TFP with the AAA as protection against Beast to swing for a whopping 7 points and get to 20 and end the game. Right now, he will just be one star shy of that goal. Mish also still has Field and Beast available, so there are some risks involved in playing like that. However, as the game comes out into a close, as Mish has more and more outs to Undying Flame, I think it is a reasonable solution, a reasonable way to continue. Okay, on this spot, I don't think Aangineer has the way to go for game. I would love to see here just FICO into Jakra pass, and then next turn, uh, actually it's a little awkward because of maybe just a pass here. Now that's more aggressive than I'd like a little bit too aggressive in a sense. And this is a little bit awkward here, so I'm just trying to think about it. Let me just comment here. I have a few opinions, and this is one of them. Team Black, come on. Okay, but here I think Aangineer has to do an unintuitive play if he wants to win this game, and that is not it. And this is actually fine though. Okay, 3 for Tribite. I actually like this as well. I think this is the other line that works. Because now you're at 15, and next term, some sort of TFP combo will get it done. Although I think you could use gas here and grab your second Noff, question mark, and that might be better. Hard to say, but actually it's hard to say here because you don't have that many stars at this point. 15 is a good amount of points. You are close to winning here. We're going to see Pelf bounce the Tribite back. Muse doesn't have enough for anything, so it's just going to have to go with the lone Pelfam here. Okay. Aangineer has 2 more cards here to see. Does he have a way to win? Creature zone come back. Okay, trying to think about. He needs Pelfam is 3, and then he needs 2 more points, and he gets a draw for turn. He gets 4 stars more. I don't think that'll do it. I think he's still a little short. So here I'd love to see just like a Gla here. Yeah. Actually, I'd like to see Gla plus Sporgazer. It's a weird play, but I think that would be good. Because I don't think you're getting much value out of Sporgazer for the rest of this game. It's like just dropping these creatures is fine. However, I think at this point, like, Angineer probably has it in his mind. Oh, Sportgazer is not a card you ever play. It's a card you combo with Super Flooper, and that's its only use. But in this case, it has more uses. Oh, I forgot about Orboth. Right, because Misha's being a little bit... I don't know, I'm going to say... what word do I want to use here? Sneaky. I'll say sneaky. Misha was being a little bit sneaky, keeping Orboth in grave. So that actually meant Angineer was farther away than I thought, and that's a mistake on my end. So some of my commentary there about this big aggressive 7-point swing wasn't actually correct. Ball's back in Musha's court, low on stars, but at near the end of his deck. Tower will be game here, I think. Yeah, Tower will be game, I think. White, because Jakra plus Guster is 6. That's gonna make 6 points here. 4 from Jakra, 2 from Guster. The resource zone is gone, so we're playing around all the beast and other shenanigans. And we do see that is going to be a swing for 6, finishing the game, and that is taking game 1. Now we'll take probably a short intermission. As we wait for the signing of Game 2. By the way, high secret. Everything is good right now. Not having to play CG and just watching other people play and judging them. That's the life. Making misplays in commentary and then not having to suffer the consequences. That is the way to experience this game. Did they already side? Man, I missed it. Okay, well, I wouldn't have seen what their sideboard was. But probably Mush, if he has any sideboard option, is going to be like a single Super Flooper. Not much else, which is good for Angineer. Angineer, however, I don't think he's on Abandonment. Honestly, I don't think I remember him seeing... I don't remember seeing him play that card in other matchups, so probably he's on no Abandonment. What else could he have? Maybe Shockwave 8, but maybe he just also has no side. So in that case, we're going to see a very similar game to Game 1. It's going to be a question of can Angineer efficiently deal with those boards. For the most part, I think last game Angineer played pretty well. Like, nothing stood out as a glaring misplay. Maybe just had to be the tiniest bit more aggressive. At the end there, if he had played that Sporgazer, he would have been able to protect against the game-winning play for Mush and maybe survive a little longer. So I think there was things he probably could have done, but really it's hard to say. I mean, it's not like so clear that Angineer made some big game-losing mistake. Angineer choosing to go second as expected, and I expect now to see a lot of draws and a lot of passes and a lot of gaining 4 stars and a lot of doing nothing and a lot of thinking about when to draw and pass and then choosing to pass anyway. And then after that, after we do this for like another couple minutes, we can start playing the game. In these sort of matchups, it's always a tough decision when you want to actually start playing. For the longest time, people would start just playing the game immediately for like the first 3 years of this game history. And then Secret played like hundreds of game versus himself and realized that it's better to just drop pass in a while. And he was just winning like every tournament for a while. And still no one did the strategy of drop passing. And then I think I started doing it as well. I started copying Secret. And then I won a couple of tournaments. And then at that point, I think people realized, oh wait, this is actually like way better than just doing nothing. Because I think people thought for a while that drop passing is just like a quirk of Secret's play. It's not like the optimal way. But then we realized it is, as a community. Except Aangineer is doing the opposite for once we see a non-drop pass strategy, and we kind of see here why it backfires. When the Vodka Pecking Mech comes down, Engineer does have 2 points, but Meshmallow was able to efficiently clear it with Orbov, and it's just back and forth now. But Mish is always going to have the upper hand. Is always going to have a few more stars and an extra card over Engineer because Engineer made the first play. And yes, Engineer got 2 points, but early in this game, those 2 points aren't going to really matter much. Throughout the course of the game, although 2 points are helpful, they don't like change the tide. They don't make such a big difference. And another efficient response from Yush in a tri-bite. And I'm trying to do a little bit of counting here. It is 8 cards to like 8 cards counting the tri-bite. Mishas has an Orbov in a much stronger spot here. And this time Yusha is not joking. Engineer really is here bailed by Zamtree. If that Zamtree did not find this specific combination of cards, I think he would have won. He would have lost at this point. All this misplays throughout this game. You know, he was basically in a losing position. There's nothing he could have done to come back, but he really did get bailed by Zamtree. So, a really good call out by Mishir. This time, not joking whatsoever. Okay, the creatures in path. Honestly, I don't hate it. Just the Triobite isn't applying that much pressure. So you can kind of force Mush to come up with something more. Mush wants to. You're basically telling Mush, hey, if you want me to do something, play another creature, commit more cards. Mush is not interested in doing that whatsoever, just wants to chill here, and that's okay too. And so we might just see a little bit of chilling, some big chilling, for a while as Engineer waits to draw into a response that can efficiently clear this tri-bite. When doesn't in fact trigger before after. Okay, now I'm gonna receive a DM from Aangineer about a ruler question. So the ruling question is, can he FICO and free play the other FICO before Tribite fills the zone? So let's see. When this creature attacks and kills another creature, you can free play one Galaxy FICO after this creature is killed. When this creature attacks and kills, yeah, that works. Yeah, so kills comes before killed, and when also becomes before after, so it would work either way. Oh, however, you might not realize something. I just realized um, that when the FICO comes down, it does free play into the. I feel like I kind of did Aang dirty here, because his question was, "Can does the FICO free play first?" And the answer is yes, it does. FICO free plays, then Tribite comes into play. However, that because one is in a battle zone, it still does do the kill thing, which is a little bit misleading, maybe. But I tell no lies. Maybe only misleading truth. Do the kill thing. Yeah, great. Overlapping audio. And we see a Glut here. Mush choosing to kind of spend a resource to inefficiently kill the FICO in a sense, because it's only 260 power. Normally, you want to use Glow on a bigger card, but I do like the play. I think, as said earlier in game one, Aang doesn't have that many high health creatures, so you're totally chill to burn your removal on some of the lower health creatures here. Plus, you're going to get two cards here, which is going to allow you to more efficiently clear boards in the future. Can I see a Jackra come down? Jackra swing for 4. This allows this allows Mush to get it into the discard pile so that when he does draw into his Undying Flame, or if he already has it, he can use it whenever he wants to. Okay, interesting here. Gla on the Tribite. Not what I was expecting, but I don't hate it. I mean, if you don't realize that you can kill Tribite with Gaios, I think it's a pretty. Does it work? Am I crazy? Cronus gonna object to this? No, it does. Yeah, it does. Yes, well, oh, yeah, nice catch by Chrono. I misread that card. Oh, yep, didn't realize that. Yeah, that's a little bit annoying. We're just gonna see a swing for one because Engineer's trying to make the play that has like the smallest change to the game state, which I respect. Mush replying in chat with then I hit Q. And for all the non-untap users out there, of which there's currently like one person watching this stream who uses untap, I think. So it's to the imaginary person who doesn't exist. The idea of hitting Q is because the hotkey on untap for saying no response, saying you don't want to respond with an activator to this attack is Q. And it is A to alert response, and it is C to draw a card, and it is H to shake a card, and it is K to clone a card. Or no, and it's Shift H to highlight a card. And it is Y to send a card to the bottom of the deck. And it is V to shuffle the deck. Okay, Logi here, gonna grab the Undying Flames. What's that card called? Yeah, the Undying Blue Flame, which is going to allow Mush whenever he wants to play that card, free play Jacker, and then shuffle one of Aangineer's creatures back into his deck. Or any card, so it could also be a Tribite, I think. Yeah, Mush could shuffle back Tribite if he wants to use it that badly later in the game. Aangineer. I'd like to see the Sapling Swath here played just to kill to draw. I'd like to see the Sapling Swath here played so Gareth can kill it and he can grab Gla, and then next turn when you want or whenever he wants to use Gla, he can use Gareth again to get a free creature. That's better than Gla. Plus you get the deck thin. Flooper kill Tribite is fine. But I kind of don't like that you're not getting any value out of Super Flooper. So yeah, you kind of have to play the Knopf to justify this play, which I don't mind. And then swing for 4. Beast would be tough here. Orbov, actually, right? Because Mush is a sneaky fellow. A sneaky fellow who's going to block 4 points and just drew a card and gained 4 stars, and now has this board to deal with. Crash is a pretty reasonable response to this board. I mean, it's not like the strongest Crash ever, but it's probably good enough. And then you can do a play where you go Undying Blue Flame for the Jakra, but then choose not to shuffle, just swing for 4. I think if that play is available to Mush, it's the best. If not, I mean, it depends. It's hard to say with when you don't know Mush's hand here, but for Sail Sign can be good, but you also want a way to kill the Knopf. I'm just trying to comprehend this play because it's very aggressive. Oh, shuffle in the first Sail Sign. Interesting. Okay. And then are you going to swing for points here? By second battle zone? Uh, second A here. Okay, that hold on. Think. Yeah, I was gonna. Okay, Chrono being the judge here. Yeah, you need the second zone. Yeah, so it's gonna pay it. And huge play here. Mush going from 15 stars down to 3 to buy the flooper, buy the battle zone, play Jack or shuffle back in. So huge commitment. Oh, and we see double abandonment. Okay, so I stand corrected. Aangineer does have abandonment in spades, and Mush again bailed by Sam. This time, again, he is joking. So he's doing a little alternation that if you know Mush like I do, you can kind of read the subtext. But yeah, this time he's joking again. Okay, so probably want to grab Knopf here. Actually, you definitely want to grab Knopf here. And you could like grab Knopf, free play Knopf, play Sporgazer, or not Sporgazer, Truant. Play Truant, clear board. Pretty chill. Don't know why you'd ever grab Sapling Squash here. Also checking that Aangineer remembered to gain stars for turn. Yep, and then you have to gain 2 more from Zam. Gain from Zam. Gain from Zam. I like to be a little bit when I like catch ruling, they try to be a little bit vague to like stimulate the mind of the player who made the mistake, so they think a little bit like, what does he mean by gain from Zam? Is it the creature? No, I grab the creature. What's the star? Sometimes maybe I'll be more vague. I'll say like +2, and then I'll make them think about why I'm saying +2. Like you gotta make them think a little to really understand. Okay, we're gonna see a glut here. Oh, should I have to plug in my laptop before it dies? Gotta rush to do that now. Da 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 da. Plugging it in. I have like a short window before it dies and the stream ends, and I'm sad. Okay. Now it's plugged in. Okay, we chillin'. And Aangineer is chilling after getting 2 points and drawing 2 cards here, and just being in an all-around decent spot. With the abandonment in hand, good shit all around. Now Mush only at 7 stars is gonna probably struggle to find the best way to clear this board to deal with it efficiently. Second Orbov maybe, Buller is okay, Mole is okay. These are the cards that are coming to mind. I mean, Mole seems okay. It would actually be horrible in this spot, but Thorn is great to kill the Night Jungle. That's actually a pretty good way to do it, yeah. Thorn Tribite's gonna efficiently clear this board and be annoying for Aangineer to deal with on the back end. Now, if Aangineer really hates Tribite, what he can do here is he can use For Sale Sign to buy the Tribite and then kill it with a Gas, although you do not have a Knopf now to grab. What else? I think you're okay to slow roll as well. Like, you can just drop a Knopf here and kill the Tribite and chill. I actually also don't mind, but I think Aangineer is going to try to do is just going to keep the For Sale Sign on and play back and forth games with it. Mush, of course, could play Pelfam now. However, I think it's kind of like a weak Pelfam, and he's so low on stars. I think if you're Aangineer, you should kind of smell the blood in the water and tell that for the next couple of turns, Mush is going to be in a little bit of trouble. And you want to capitalize on that. You want to play your Knopf, you want to play your Truant. Not too big of a board, because then you bail Mush out with like a Crash or a Beast. But just enough to apply pressure to threaten 2 or 3 point swings. So force Mush to continue to waste his stars here, or to spend them. Right time to deal with this. Thorn and Triabite aren't the greatest. I mean, he can buy Triabite back, but then he's kind of playing this game of really low stars, and you do not want to be playing that game when you are the player who is down 5 stars. Chakra, that's going to be a really good card for Mush, kind of bails him out a little. Bailed out by Zamtree, more like bailed out by the Undying Blue Flame. Yeah, because that card comes in, shuffles in Tribite. Mush is putting that back into his deck to get ready to put it back in. Aangineer missed a line, which I don't know if I saw. Maybe Palphion bounced the first house line. Probably the line he's thinking about. Mush laying on the aggression though. What do I want to see here if I'm Engineer? I think you have a couple of options. I don't mind Palphion plus Knopf here. I think that's quite strong. Palphion plus Knopf. You have the AA to protect against Beast. Yeah, Palphion plus Knopf here. Palf bounce the Jakra. Force Mush to spend more stars. Kill Knopf. Swing for 3. You have plenty of stars here. I do like that play a lot. I'd love to see it. But yes! Bounce the Jakra. Yes! Let's go! Nice from Anthony here. I do like this play. I think it's shit. I just spilled a large cup of water. Whatever, I'll deal with it after this exciting match. Now I'm excited. I was really kind of hoping to see that play because it's not the most intuitive, and it kind of, like, you can't always do this. If Mush had another 6 stars or so, I would not like this play. But the other elements of reasoning behind it is that you want to get more value out of abandonment, so you kind of hope that the Jakra comes down in tandem with like a Serpent or some other non-gas creature, so you can use abandonment functionally like a G-Crash. Okay, Pelfam here. This is a great spot to drop an abandonment. Great spot to drop an abandonment, or to go like Sporgazer Truant is... nah, that's weird. I think it's a great spot to drop an abandonment and then place a lone Sporgazer, which I think is a play Angineer is not going to be thinking about really, because Sporgazer is supposed to be this card you combo with Super Flipper, but I do like just a lone Sporgazer here. Truant's more aggressive, which I'm a little bit wary of, because if Meshmallow has a Galaxy Crash, that really sucks for you. Whereas if Meshmallow has to crash just a Sporgazer and off, that's really awesome for you. Mush gaining 5 stars. Let's drop a very vague 13 here. Yeah, it's not Engineer this time. Yeah, you got to keep it vague. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you got to keep it vague. Make him think a little. Make him think, why did I drop 13? You know, keep the brain engaged. I could have just said, hey, Mishi, you accidentally get an extra star. But I wouldn't want to do that. That would be too clear. Too simple. Where's the fun in that? No, I like a brain teaser. And I think if Mush has Crash here, honestly, I think that's just wraps. Mush wins it. So I think that's on this fight if you want to be free Engineer. I see no way to come back from this if Mush has a Crash. However, if Mush doesn't have a Crash, this is a really annoying board to deal with, because you can't just kill the Truant, because then the Truant makes Knopf a 360, 170. Wait, actually, I just realized Angineer's on 15 points. So that's a lot of points. And if Mush had Beast here, he would have played it. So Angineer's on 15 points and Mush doesn't have a Beast. What am I saying, man? I gotta step up my commentary game, my ability to analyze. If I'm gonna be this guy who's coming here and like, oh, you shouldn't have played the Noth, or you should have done something else. Should be more on top of this sort of stuff. Yeah, Engineer at 15 points, so TFP plus a lot of stuff is winning, and that's gonna kind of seal it, right? For Sale Sign 4 True, it means you can just buy it back plus TFP plus any other card and it's over. I think Engineer has it here. Unless we see like a mole from Yush could save it. This is no longer a good spot for Yush. Not at all. However, on the other hand, an Undying Blue Flame from Yush would win him the game. Because you could play Jakra. Oh, he has Jakra in hand, right? Because of that older play. So Jakra TFP is game here. If he has it. Well, there's a lot I got. Oh, and we see the Tribite come down. Tribite and Mush at 17. So he's very close to winning. But I think he's just shy here. I think that with the AAA, Engineer has a very good way to win. Unless he doesn't have the confidence to field to AA a field here. I think that's the one last place he could misstep. He could see field here and decide to save AA for Beast, which I think would be a waste here. I think you need to play that aggression. So here there's a couple ways to do it, but the simplest is to just buy back Truant, TFP, and swing. Oh, you need one more point. Okay, so buy back Truant, TFP, drop the Sapling Squaws, and swing. Do I gamble? Yes, you gamble. Come on, Engineer. You gotta gamble here. You're just saying never worth it. You gotta. Mush would have beasted last turn, so you know Mush doesn't have beast unless he top decked it. You gotta gamble here. It's just so obvious that you have to play for the game here, and there's like a couple of ways you can do it, and you can choose the most efficient line. Like, you can do it. Mush is trolling here. Oh man, that's funny. Engineer should not have to think about this, to be honest. You definitely play the. I think Mush is making him do it though. Like this joke about having both the outs, because Mush understands that you obviously go for it here. But with the AA, it's a no-brainer, and I think you can do it in a couple ways. You can go like Temagrob, TFP, Sapling Squads, or you can probably set it up so you have game back to back. Like, even if Mush somehow has Field plus Beast. Actually, I think what you do is you want to do it with the for sale sign because you absolutely should. You have AAA, so it's not a gamble. It's not a gamble. And you have Field as well, so it's like super clean to attack here. It's a no-brainer. Mush playing the mind games. Oh man. I've just been compared to Hikaru in stream chat. I can't believe that. This is devastating. No, well, what is Hikaru to? I have to draw like I don't have arrows enabled, but I have to draw a bunch of arrows and then act like I can predict everything. Yeah, so you go TFP AA, Truant, bye bye, takes. Bye takes, swing for game. Then you get field AA, field Beast. Then you draw pass, then you have the field for the protection, then you go back with Temagrob, squalls, guys, squalls, Thorn, playing off. You absolutely swing here. Man. Yeah, it does, right? It does list less cards overall, so you need to do it. Yeah, you do have to. I'm glad you're coming to this conclusion the long way around. But you know that Muse probably does not have beats, so you're very safe to do this. No! No! What? 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 What the? Wait! Whoa! 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 What? No! No! Bro, what was that? What? No! Ah, wow, that is a shocker. You had to gamble. I don't know. Dude, that's. Man, I got no words for that. Except what? Oh man, that's. Yeah, so you you're not gooding, no. No, you're not gooding. You had game there. You had game. What are you looking for? You had you had two ways to get game. You could have done it with Temagrab or you could have done it with TFP. There was no you have Does he not see? Does he not see the lines? There is no top deck. There is no top deck you're looking for. You have game there with a bunch of different things. Now you're in the same spot you were before, but you burned the field. Yeah, you are still fine, but you were better if you could have gone for it last turn without the. Okay, deep breath, Thodish. Deep breath. Gotta go to my happy place here. I'm getting a little too worked up about a children's card game. You know, at the end of the day, everyone's still learning. Everyone makes mistakes. It's okay. And it's still anyone's game. Aangineer still has an opportunity to win, despite just a happy little accident, as Bob Ross might have said. And even though now Tribyte is filling the zone, which basically guarantees Bush the game here, it's okay. Because after this, I have more time, because I stream it early, to go for a walk and just enjoy life. And it's okay. And life goes on. And hopefully Aangineer will rewatch the stream. And God damn it, dude, what the fuck was that? Oh my god, what the fuck was that? No! What was that? What was that? Okay, I have to